This podcast is a work of historical interpretation. While we strive for accuracy, some aspects of history are open to interpretation and debate. Thank you for listening. Yes, I don't know how that went over my head.
Wow. And you're sitting down, so that really didn't have much to, very far to go over your head.
It didn't.
Then again, if you were standing, it'd be about the same.
I am not that short.
Okay, 2 inches different. Say it.
No, I'm good. We're recording.
Yes, we've been recording. I have all that recorded.
Okay. So this is episode 7. Our title is The Brinks Robbery of 1950, America's Perfect Crime. And I was using quotation marks so you can't see, because it seemed like the perfect crime, but it is in fact solved.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I almost had to say you were doing, the quote thing.
I forget you can't see.
It's for the video on our Patreon.
Right. I did do my makeup today, which is happens only 3 or 4 times a year.
You should be glad you're not seeing it.
No, that's just okay.
That's just okay?
Welcome back, history enthusiasts, to another episode of Time Tellers, the podcast where we dive deep into the stories of the past that have shaped our world today. I'm your host, Renee, and being cruel and unusual is Dan over there.
Just call me Punishment.
Today we'll be exploring one of the most notorious heists in American history.
Ooh, breaking the law?
Oh, we should use breaking the law recording in this.
That's illegal.
The cover that we're putting on Spotify anyways as a band?
That would definitely be gray, though, on here. We might be breaking the law with breaking the law.
Isn't there something if it's only so many seconds long? Or
in most countries, I would have to go through the list and restrict certain countries in case we get listened to in them.
Ah. Breaking the law.
We have several that are unknown.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How is it unknown?
I don't know. There's still that one. There's still that one random island too. What was that? St. Kitts and yeah, whatever that one was.
Send us some messages regarding where you all live. That would be amazing. You can reach us on Instagram, Facebook, through our Gmail, and our website.
Wow, we're done already. You're doing the social shout out.
Okay.
That's a new form of lazy.
So the most notorious heist today is going to be the Brinks Robbery of 1950. This episode will uncover the meticulous planning, the dramatic execution, and the ultimate downfall of the criminals behind what was dubbed, quote-unquote, America's perfect crime. On the evening of January 17th, 1950, the streets of Boston were quiet and cold. At the Brinks Armored Car Depot, that word's depot, not department. Located at 165 Prince Street in the North End, employees were going about their usual routines, closing for the day, returning sacks of undelivered cash, checks, and other materials to the company's safe on the second floor, completely unaware that they were about to become part of the most infamous robbery in history, or at least one of them. Boston also had the robbery at the museum.
Several.
Well, I was thinking of oh my gosh, I just forgot her name. Oh, this is going to bother me because I've been to this museum. It's the Stewart Museum. That's not quite correct. Where the stuff was stolen, and if you go today, they still have the empty frames because they couldn't, due to her will, they couldn't change anything. Stuart Gardner Museum.
Ah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
What was stolen again?
Various paintings, and I wish I could remember which ones off the top of my head. But if you go now, you can walk in and walk around the museum, and they'll have the gold frames, and they'll just be empty.
Ah.
Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum.
Yeah. Oh, one of the concert by Vermeer was one of them.
And Seascape?
Yeah, well, The Storm on the Sea, which was Rembrandt's only seascape.
Yes.
More Rembrandt. Who cares about Vermeer or Rembrandt? I hate all that Dutch stuff. Like, I completely avoid those floors in the Met. They don't look the exact same, just boring, so who cares?
Well, that was art opinion by Dan over here.
I like art, not the exact same thing with a slightly different face 100 ways.
I have nothing against Rembrandt, personally.
What about Vermeer?
I don't know anything about Vermeer, besides that painting being stolen from the
Everything by Vermeer looks like that, with different people. I'm serious. That's what they all.
We are now an art critic podcast, apparently.
Yeah.
We should probably do an episode on that, because that is a very strange
Vermeer being stupid?
robbery.
Oh.
The Brinks Robbery.
See, look, that's it. That's his other very famous one. Looks almost the exact same with a different person. Yeah.
The Brinks Robbery was not a spur-of-the-moment crime. It was the result of over a year of meticulous planning by 11 seasoned criminals.
Sounds like the movie The Town.
I was thinking more of like The Italian Job or just Ocean's 11.
Yeah, but The Town takes place in Boston.
Yes, you're right.
A bank
it does.
Robbery.
Yeah.
It's Ben Affleck, so it has to be good.
The mastermind behind the heist was Anthony, quote-unquote, Fats Pino, a career criminal with a talent for organizing complex capers. Pino, Joseph Big Joe McGinnis, Stanley Gussiora. I probably...
You wrote it.
It's his last name.
Where's your pronunciation guide?
I did not think to have one for this. It's Gussiora. And their accomplices meticulously studied the Brinks Depot. The gang conducted extensive surveillance and inside information gathering over an extended period. They observed the routines, security measures, and layout of the Brinks Depot. Pino and his accomplices used this information to plan the heist with great precision. Now remember, this is 1950, so leading up to late 40s.
Post-World War II?
Yes, post-World War II. The gang managed to obtain a duplicate key to one of the depot's doors, a critical component of their plan. It is believed that they created the duplicate key by secretly obtaining and copying the original key, likely with the help of an insider or through skilled theft. To ensure the key worked and to practice their entry and exit, the gang performed several dry runs at the depot. During these practice sessions, they would enter the building, navigate inside, and leave without taking anything or raising suspicion. To me, I'm like, do you not notice these random people walking around? Like, this is a Brinks Depot. It's not exactly a tourist attraction.
Huh?
I mean, I know it's 1949, 1950, but nobody's noticing. Like, they just have completely open door policy. That seems very strange to me. On the night of January 17, 1950, the gang, dressed in navy peacoats, chauffeur caps, rubber Halloween mask, and gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints, made their dramatic, intense move. Now remember, this is way before DNA. Like, fingerprints would be their biggest forensic detail at the time. The gang used the duplicate key to access the Brinks Armored Car Depot at 7:10 p.m. This timing was chosen carefully based on their reconnaissance, which showed that this was a moment when the depot's security was slightly more relaxed and fewer employees would be present to interfere with their plans. So I'm guessing maybe it's around shift change, or at least first shift's leaving kind of thing, so it's just more of a skeleton crew. The gang swiftly and silently subdued the employees they encountered, binding and gagging them. During this operation, one of the employees had lost his glasses. They later could not be found on the Brinks premises. They then proceeded to the vault. In about 30 minutes, they loaded up over $2.7 million in cash, checks, money orders, and securities into canvas bags, and this would equal about $30 million today. Which I'm like, that's got to be a lot of canvas bags.
No.
You don't think?
That's like one suitcase. If that.
But cash isn't light, and it takes up space. As the loot was being placed in bags and stacked between the second and third doors leading to the Prince Street entrance, a buzzer sounded. Dun, dun, The robbers removed the adhesive tape from the mouth of one employee and learned that the buzzer signified that somebody wanted to enter the vault area. So there is security there. Like, doors are locked. Again, did they just let these people in earlier in the planning stages? I'm not sure.
Probably.
The person ringing the buzzer was a garage attendant. Two of the gang members moved towards the door to capture him. But seeing the garage attendant walk away, apparently unaware that there was a robbery being committed, they did not pursue him. The getaway and investigation. The robbers escaped in a stolen truck and disappeared into the night. The heist was so precise that the authorities initially had few leads. The FBI and local police were stumped, referring to the robbery again as the perfect crime. It's not good when the police are saying it's a perfect crime.
Yeah.
However, in addition to the general descriptions received from the Brinks employees, the investigators obtained several pieces of physical evidence. There was the rope and adhesive tape used to bind and gag the employees, and a chauffeur's cap that one of the robbers had left at the crime scene. So they might have some hair in there, which I don't know how much they could have done with in 1950.
They could have saved it till now and figured it out.
If they had foresight, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, figured out who King Tut's still related to. I mean,
that's...
And the random bug people.
Yes, and the Summerton man. I pronounced that wrong. The Summerton man.
Which one's that?
In Australia, the man that was found on the beach with no identification. He was like in a suit just laying on the beach in Australia, and it was unsolved for decades.
I wonder how many of those there are that just haven't been found in the middle of the desert, like out near Vegas.
Right? The investigation intensified as the FBI combed through thousands of leads and interviewed hundreds of suspects. The FBI further learned that 4 revolvers had been taken by the gang. The descriptions and serial numbers of these weapons were carefully noted since they might prove a valuable link to the men responsible for the crime. So these were weapons of the Brinks employees that the robbers took with them. That's right. A systematic check of current and past Brinks employees was undertaken. Personnel of the 3-story building housing the Brinks office were questioned. Inquiries were made concerning salesmen, messengers, and others who had called at Brinks and might know its physical layout as well as its operating procedures. Although they made extensive efforts, progress was slow because the robbers used masks and gloves to avoid leaving evidence, which is basically all they had to do in 1950.
Yep.
Brinks Incorporated offered a $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and convictions of the persons responsible. $100,000 in 1950. I forgot to look up how much that would be now.
Probably about 700.
Yeah, but that's a huge reward.
Yeah, that's what I said. Probably about 700,000 now.
Right. Despite the massive manhunt, the robbers managed to evade capture for years, maintaining a strict code of silence. However, this is not an unsolved case, and this is why. One of the robbers, Joseph Specks O'Keefe, was arrested for a series of unrelated charges, including a bank burglary in Pennsylvania. His arrest for these crimes, coupled with his subsequent imprisonment and lack of support from his accomplices, eventually led to his decision to confess to his involvement in the Brinks robbery. Does not surprise me.
Yeah.
His detailed confessions gave the FBI the information they needed to connect the dots. He explained how the stolen money and securities were divided among the gang members and hidden in various locations to avoid detection. He provided insights into the gang's activities following the robbery, including their efforts to lay low and avoid suspicion, and the internal conflicts that eventually led to his feeling of betrayal. No love lost there.
Yeah.
Gradually, the authorities rounded up the remaining gang members. On January 12, 1956, just days before the statute of limitations on the robbery would have expired, the FBI arrested the critical members of the gang. So, bank robbery, statute of limitations was only like 6 years?
That's it?
I'm sure that's changed.
I'm pretty sure it has.
Because that seems like Not very long at all.
No.
The trial of the Brinks robbers was a media sensation. Despite their attempts to deny involvement, the overwhelming evidence in O'Keefe's testimony sealed their fate. In October 1956, 8 members of the gang were convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. The trial revealed the intricate details of the heist, from the planning to the execution, and the sentencing marked the end of the gang's criminal activities. But what happened to the money? Not all the stolen money was recovered, and it is believed that much remains hidden. The missing cash from the Brinks robbery is considered to be either hidden by gang members, spent or lost over time, buried in undisclosed locations, or distributed to friends and associates. But its exact whereabouts remain a mystery. I mean, they spent it. I mean, I guess there could be some buried or hidden in attics or something.
No, nobody hides cash.
I don't know if they wrote down serial numbers. I don't know if they would have had access to serial numbers. In 1950, if they would have known.
Existed.
Yes. I just don't know if Brinks, kept track of, individual serial numbers on individual bills. You know what I mean?
Probably, but go to Walmart, they're not going to know.
True.
Walmart didn't exist then. But...
Yes.
Okay, go to a bar. Nobody will know.
Definitely. Yes. Definitely. Nobody's going to pay any attention. The Brinks robbery significantly influenced security measures and law enforcement tactics, which helped develop more sophisticated security systems and investigative techniques. They lucked out. The guy was arrested and he's like, I'm not going to sit in here by myself. I'm going down, we're all going down. They lucked out. That's honestly the only reason they solved this case. At least in a timely manner. This is definitely one that could have been solved later with forensic techniques coming around and stuff, but they got lucky, in my opinion. The Brinks robbery of 1950 is a fascinating chapter of the annals of American crime history. Although the saying, "no honor among thieves," did not originate from the Brinks robbery, as it is a much older proverb, the phrase has been used for centuries to express that criminals willing to break the law are often untrustworthy and likely to betray each other. So we often hear "no honor among thieves" in reference to this robbery, but had been around forever. The Brinks robbery, however, exemplifies this saying, as internal conflicts and betrayal among the gang members, particularly Joseph Specks O'Keefe, ultimately led to their downfall. The betrayal and lack of loyalty within the gang illustrated the timeless truth behind that proverb. The heist's enduring legacy inspires countless movies, books, and discussions about what makes the perfect crime. I actually tried to look up, what specific books or movies that this would be based on, but like you just said, the town
was based on it.
Yes, and I'm
sure a whole bunch of D.B. Cooper ones too.
D.B. Cooper, what do you mean?
Just tied in some of the missing money and all that kind of stuff.
True.
Kind of like how they tie D.B. Cooper into everything. Did you ever watch Prison Break?
I have seen episodes here and there, and now it's on Netflix. So I think I might actually watch it. Right now we're watching Dexter.
Yeah.
So we're going to get through that.
As long as your Netflix says you're in the family.
Oh my gosh. Netflix, not cool. I move between houses continuously. And my oldest, who's basically an adult, very soon to be a legal adult, doesn't always move with me. But she's still in my household. And it's just becoming ridiculous. And it's 10 minutes difference. And we're 2.5 miles apart. It's, oh my God.
Yeah. How dare you share what you pay for?
I know. And it's not cheap. Netflix is up to $20 a month?
Something like that.
It's are you serious right now?
But it is still cheaper than going to buy a movie. Or going to a movie.
Yeah. That is
Speaking
true.
of what, I actually went to a movie for the first time since the last Star Wars movie came out.
Really?
Yeah, I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The last movie I saw was Inside Out, too, because I have children.
Oh, well, I'll just wait for Disney Plus for that one.
It was really good. I enjoyed it.
I do want to go see Romulus tomorrow, but the new Alien movie.
I haven't heard much about that.
It's supposed to actually be good. It takes place after the first Alien movie. It's between Alien and Aliens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
after Prometheus, Alien.
There's nothing I think I really want to see right now that I can't wait till it comes on whatever platform.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple digital movies I got to download and watch that I kind of forgot to see when they were in the theaters. Well, I didn't bother. The Bad Boys 4.
Yeah, I had no interest in that.
And Twisters.
Twisters. I should have gone to see Twisters because I loved Twister.
Well, it's on digital now. You can get it.
Oh, awesome. Because, yeah, I loved that movie.
Cow.
So, if anybody knows of any specific books, movies that are based on this Brinks 1950s robbery and want to let us know, again, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We have our email and our website. What?
That armored car movie from like 2000, 2003, somewhere in there.
I need more of a name.
Yeah, I think it was called called Armored.
I wonder.
Or maybe it was the heist. That was the heist. Maybe I don't remember.
Heist. That sounds right, but that was a little too long ago for me to remember. Sorry.
I know you're old.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Time Tellers. If you found this story intriguing, please give us a follow, give us a review, share, let your friends know about it. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll continue to explore captivating tales that shape our world. Until then, keep exploring history and uncovering the stories that time tells. And we're done.
That one was not a good one.
What?
That was not a good ending.
It was amazing.
No. You think just because you have me trapped in here, you could say things like that?
What would you like me to say instead?
I don't know, something that's not cheesy.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I know, especially after your weigh anchor comment on a couple weeks ago's episode.
As my students can well attest, I am cheesy, corny. I think they call me corny. I ran into one of my students at a public outing not too long ago, and he literally ran away from me saying, "Oh, no, 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 no."
Can you blame them?
It's frightening to see a teacher out in the wild. Throws them. They don't know.
Try being trapped in a room with one.
You are not trapped. That door is not even shut all the way.
Yes, it is.
No, it's really not.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm hanging up now.
No, you're not. You're not hanging up till I press the stop button.
Hope y'all listen to our next episode.
What's the next
Renee's
episode?
out.